In this video, I am going to discuss a topic atomic excitation and atomic spectra. So far we have studied different atomic models: Bohr's atomic model, Rutherford's atomic model, Thomson's atomic model, then Sommerfeld atomic model, and finally we have also discussed the very latest atomic model based on quantum concepts, that is vector atom model. And we have also seen the physical significance of the quantum numbers. So now today in this video I shall discuss about the atomic excitation and atomic spectra. Now in order to get the atomic spectra, if you want to study atomic spectra of any element, so first of all you have to excite the electron in that atom. So the excitation of the atom in an electron would be possible by two different ways. The first way is excitation by collision, and the second way is excitation by absorption of photon energy. So these two methods of atomic excitations that we are going to discuss, and after that we shall discuss about the atomic spectra, how one can achieve or one can get the atomic spectra, and what are the types of atomic spectra, that also I am going to discuss here. Okay, so earlier in Bohr's model we have seen we have studied the hydrogen spectra. At that time we have also discussed the existence of certain discrete energy levels for hydrogen atom. So with the derivation of equation of energy, En, that is equal to minus 13.6 upon n square, that equation we have derived, and we have seen that with respect to the value of the principal quantum number n, there can be certain discrete set of energy level. So when the electron in hydrogen atom, for example, when it is excited, that means its energy level is changed. So it can go to any one of these possible energy level. So it cannot lie in between the energy levels. So only certain discrete energy levels are allowed, and therefore this discrete nature of energy state results into the line spectra of the hydrogen atom. Not only hydrogen atom, but for other elements also you will see that the spectra will be a line spectra. So in order to understand the process, how the spectra can be generated or created, one must first of all understand what is atomic excitation. So if you consider any element, for example hydrogen has only one electron, so that is the valence electron. So what is valence electron? For any element, the electron which lie in the last shell or subshell, what we call, that is known as the valence electron. Okay, the electron that exists in the last subshell, that we call as the valence electron. So in hydrogen atom there is only one electron. So that is if you define in terms of the electronic configuration, so for hydrogen it will be 1s1. So the 1s electron can go to the higher levels or the higher shells and subshells only if it is excited by some source of energy. Okay, so this is possible only when it will be provided some energy so that it can go to the higher energy level. But remember, these excitations, they are not permanent, so they remain there. The electron will remain in the higher energy level for a very short period of time, of the order of 10 raised to minus 8 seconds, and it will come back again to its original state or the lowest energy state, which is a stable state for that electron, which we call it as a ground state level. So in this process, when it performs the reverse transition from excited state to ground state, the energy difference between these two states will be given out in the form of photon. So that photon will constitute a particular line in the spectra. So such, for any element there are different possible energy levels. So whenever the electron perform the transition from one of these level to the ground state, it will emit the electron of certain energy. So depending on the different combination of transitions from certain energy levels to ground state, there can be different photons of different energy, that means of different wavelengths. So that constitute a group of lines for that element, which is a very unique characteristic of that element, and that constitute a spectra for that particular element. So spectroscopy is a very important branch. So it is actually an important tool, a qualitative tool available for identification of the elements. So from the spectra you can identify what element is it, because for a particular element there is a unique set of spectral lines resulted because of a certain group of transitions possible from a fixed number of energy states possible for that element. Therefore it is an important tool. So spectroscopy is an important branch in physics, and it has many applications in chemistry, in pharmaceutical, and in life sciences also. Okay, so let us try to understand this process of getting atomic spectra. For that, first of all, we are going to discuss the atomic excitation. So the two types which I have mentioned here, the excitation by collision and the excitation by absorption of photon energy. Okay, so the first of all, let us discuss about the excitation by collision. Okay, so excitation by collision means what? The particular atom or whatever the atom you want to excite, so it will be collided with some highly energetic particle. So collision with other particle, so that can result into excitation of that particular electron in that atom to a higher energy level. So let us see this representation here. So suppose the highly energetic particle, a red one, okay, and it is suppose incident on, or it is having collision with this particular atom, okay. So it has the electron suppose in the first orbit. So what happens here, when the collision took place here, now the electron from this ground state, it will be excited to higher energy state. So for example, here it is shown from the first energy level it goes to the second energy level. So in this process you can say there is a excitation, from the lower energy state to higher energy state, and this is the representation that is called as excitation by collision. So highly energetic particle collides with an atom. So the energy of the particle is utilized by the electron in an atom to go from lower energy state to high energy state. But remember, this high energy states are these are unstable states, okay. So there is always a natural tendency for any particle to be at a lower energy state, which is very stable state. So for electron also, this when electrons goes from lower energy state to higher energy state, it will perform a reverse transition. It will always try to come back again to its original state, that is ground state. And because of this transition, whatever the energy difference between these two states, that will be given out in the form of photon. So this is how the photons are emitted in this process. So this first step towards getting the atomic spectra, a method to excite an electron is called as excitation by collision. So part of the kinetic energy is absorbed by an atom. So the kinetic energy of this highly energetic particle, it is absorbed by an atom. So the atom is excited to higher energy state, and here it will remain for a very small time, on an average 10⁻⁸ second, and in this process, in the reverse transition, it will give out a photon. So the typical examples I can give you: a discharge in a rarefied gas. So a gas filled in a tube, and we have two electrodes, electric field is applied. So the electrons, for example, electrons are ions, they are accelerated, so they will be used as a highly energetic particles in this particular case. So the electrons or ions, they will collide with the atoms of this rarefied gas, and wherever there is sufficient energy to raise the electron in the atom of this rarefied gas to the higher energy level, then that particular energy from the incident particle will be absorbed and the excitation will took place here. So you know that basically electron, their mass is negligible as compared to the mass of atom. Therefore you know that this particular case, rather you can say, if you consider electrons and ions, electrons are more suitable for excitation by collision. Why? Because in this particular case you are exciting the electron in an atom. So the particle which is energetic particle used is electron, and what you are exciting is electron, so their masses are same, so there is more possibility of the energy transfer. So the energy transfer took place easily here rather than using a ion, okay, so as a energetic particle. So here electrons are preferred in this process of discharge in rarefied gas. Another example I can give you: a neon lamp or mercury lamp. So neon lamp, so there neon gas is used or mercury vapor is used in mercury lamp, and the discharge took place here. So the light given, for example, in case of neon lamp, a reddish light, because the photon emitted are in that particular wavelength range, in a red wavelength range, in a visible spectra. Similarly for mercury, almost you are getting bluish light, okay. So because the photons are in that particular range, photons given out in the reverse transition, they are in that particular range. So this is what the first type, excitation by collision. Okay, now let us try to understand the second process of atomic excitation, that is excitation by absorption of photon energy. So what is done in this case? In the first method, that is excitation by collision, we have seen that highly energetic particle collides with the atom, so the electron in that atom will be excited. But here, instead of colliding the atom by highly energetic particle, what is done? Actually directly photons are used, okay, photons of certain energy, they are used, and these particular photons, so the atom will absorb a photon of light having energy just equal to raise the atom to a higher energy level. So what is the condition? The incident photon should have energy at least that will match to the energy difference between the any two levels, that means the ground state level and the higher energy level of that particular atom. Then only the photon will be absorbed, photon energy will be absorbed, and the atomic excitation will took place there. For example, if you consider photon of wavelength lambda is equal to 121.7 nanometer, so it is required to be absorbed to raise hydrogen atom from the first energy level, that is n is equal to 1, to the higher energy level n is equal to 2. So why this wavelength is required? Because if you calculate the energy of this photon of wavelength 121.7 nanometer by the formula is equal to h nu or hc upon lambda is equal to hc upon lambda, where h is Planck constant, c is the velocity of light, and lambda is the wavelength. So if you substitute this wavelength, h, that is Planck's constant, and c, that is the velocity of light, then you can find out the energy of this photon having this wavelength. So that energy, you will find that is required to raise the electron in hydrogen atom from the ground state n is equal to 1 to higher energy level n is equal to 2. So this is what the excitation by absorption of photon energy. If you have photon energy different than that, suppose in case of this this particular example. Suppose you have a photon of energy which is slightly less than the energy required, then what will happen? Whether it will be absorbed? No, it will not be absorbed, and obviously there will be no atomic excitation. So the condition is that at least the energy should be equal or greater than the energy required to raise that electron from the lower energy state to higher energy state. So this is the second type of excitation, or second method of excitation, that is excitation by absorption of photon energy. Okay, so now let us talk about the atomic spectra. Okay, so atomic excitations we have discussed the two types. Okay, atomic excitation by collision and atomic excitation by absorption of photon energy. Now we shall try to understand what is atomic spectra and how one can get an atomic spectra and what are the types of atomic spectra. Okay, so basically there are two types of atomic spectra. One you can call as emission spectra and other you can call as the absorption spectra. So let us try to understand this difference. What is emission spectra and what is the absorption spectra? So for that let us see this particular representation here. Okay, so the emission spectra, first of all. So suppose by any way the electron is excited here, okay, from the lower energy state to higher energy state. Any way means either by collision or by absorption of photon. Okay, suppose the electron is excited, and what happens now? The excited electron will come back again to its ground state. But in this process, during this reverse transition, whatever the energy difference between these two levels, that will be given out in the form of photon. So a photon is emitted. So photon, any photon will correspond to certain wavelength. So you will get a particular line of wavelength corresponding to this transition. So likewise there can be different transition. For example, ground state to third level, or ground state to fourth level, or ground state to fifth level. So when there will be a reverse transition from third to first, or second to first, or fourth to first, each time the photon emitted will be of different energy, that means of different wavelength. So likewise the photon wavelength will be different and you will get a spectra of different wavelengths because of emission of the photons during the reverse transition. So this kind of spectra which results due to emission of photons, that is called as emission spectra. That is called as the emission spectra. So this is the first type. Now let us try to understand another type of spectra, atomic spectra, that is called as absorption spectra. So see the difference just based on how you are observing the actual effect of the excitation or the absorption of energy. So here the absorption of energy is considered. Here the absorption of energy is considered. So what is done here is simply white light. White light means a light which contains photons of different wavelength. So how white light is composed? Actually white light contains different photons. Different photons means photons of different wavelengths. So such white light is incident on the element or the particular atom. Now all those photons whose energy corresponds to the difference between the ground state and any one of the higher energy level, so those photons will be absorbed and the excitation of the electron will took place. So particular photons will be absorbed, photon of certain energy or certain wavelengths will be absorbed by the particular atom. So you know that for a particular atom there are certain fixed set of energy levels associated with it. Okay, it has unique set of energy levels associated with it. So what will happen? Whatever the energy difference for the corresponding ground state and that higher energy level, when the incident photon energy matches with that or having slightly greater than that, then that photon will get absorbed. So such absorption of particular photons will took place here. And now if you observe this transmitted beam for example, this white light beam, and if you detect this light here, so those photons which are absorbed will be missing. Okay, so you will on a particular bright background, or you will see that certain contrast lines will appear here because certain photons are absorbed here. So these missing lines will indicates which particular photons are absorbed, which particular photons are absorbed. So that also form atypical spectra, which results because of certain group of photon absorbed when you incident a white light on this particular atom. So such a spectra is called as absorption spectra. Such spectra of the atom is called as absorption spectra. So this is a basic difference, you can say. So how you observe it? So in the excitation process, reverse transition took place and photons are given out. Okay, so those photons will constitute certain lines in the spectra of atom that will form a emission spectra. And in the second process, when you incident a white light, only certain group of photons will be absorbed which are corresponding to the energy differences between the ground state and the corresponding high energy levels of that atom. So such photons will be missing if you observe this white light on other side here. So such photons will be missing. So there will be actually not exactly absence of photons, but you will see some contrast lines appearing on the background, on a whitish background here. So that missing lines will constitute a spectra that will called as a absorption spectra. So this is how we have two types, the emission spectra and absorption spectra. Both of these two methods, they are very useful. Emission spectra and absorption spectra, they are very useful tool in the qualitative analysis of the element. So there are different applications of these different two techniques available with us in spectroscopy. Both type of spectra, that is emission spectra and absorption spectra, they are very useful. Okay, so now we are going to discuss a very important experiment which was performed by the scientists Frank and Hertz. So this Frank and Hertz is a very important experiment in modern physics, and its importance, actually it has practically demonstrated the existence of atomic levels. So Bohr first time used the quantum concept in order to describe the atomic structure, and he has predicted the transitions and only certain discrete levels, energy levels that exist for a particular atom, for example hydrogen atom. So so that was only theoretical concept. People don't know at that time about whether these energy level do really exist. So for that it was necessary, and Frank and Hertz performed this series of experiment for different vapors of different elements, and they have practically demonstrated the existence of atomic levels. So from that point of view, this Frank and Hertz experiment is very important. Okay, so let us see the experimental arrangement, and let us try to understand the importance of this experiment and how they have concluded the existence of atomic levels. Okay, so you can see here there is this evacuated tube here in which the vapor of certain element is filled, certain material is filled, and very high electric field is applied between cathode and anode. There is a filament, low supply is applied here, so filament is heated and electrons are emitted. These electrons are accelerated in this particular direction. In this particular path, now you can see here between cathode and anode, you can see here very high accelerating potential is applied, and at the plate here, plate at which the electrons are collected, some opposing potential is applied here. So that opposing potential V0, that is called as the retarding potential, and a current meter is connected over here in order to record the plate current, and the voltmeter that is connected here in order to record this particular retarding potential here. Okay, so the accelerating potential, a very high potential is applied between cathode and anode. So what will happen? Initially the electrons will be accelerated, as you increase the accelerating potential, the kinetic energy of the electron will go on increasing. Now, so what do you expect? As you increase the potential, accelerating potential, more and more electron will reach to the plate and plate current should increase. Now this opposing potential, certain opposing potential, retarding potential B0 is applied over here. That means here only certain electrons can reach this plate having sufficient energy. So electrons which are not having sufficient energy will be opposed to reach to this plate by this retarding potential here. Okay, so how this experiment was performed and how they have concluded the existence of atomic level, that we are going to discuss over here. Okay, so for example, the mercury vapor, if it is filled here, so what Frank and Hertz they have observed, that when they initially increase the accelerating potential, so the current, so this is the graph of this current against accelerating potential. So when they increase the accelerating potential, initially they found that more and more electrons are accelerated and they reach to the plate having sufficient energy, and the electron current is increasing. But when the electron energy reaches to certain level, because you are accelerating the electron, you are increasing the accelerating potential, so the electron energy has increased, and when it reaches to certain energy level, it was found that suddenly the current drops. So why this current drops? Let us try to understand. So initially, you know that the electron energy is less. Okay, you are increasing the accelerating potential, so the electron energy is less. You know that the energy of electron and the mass of the electron is very small as compared to atom. So when the electron is colliding with the atom of the particular element whose vapor is present inside this tube, so the electron will be simply bounced in a different direction, and it can easily reach to this plate here, because the collision, if you consider here, this particular collision is elastic collision. The energy is easily conserved because the mass of electron is very small as compared to atom, so it will be simply bounced in different direction and it can reach to the plate here. Okay, but when it achieves, as you increase the potential here, accelerating potential, the electron energy will become sufficient, so that now when the electron energy exactly matches with the ground state level and one of the higher level or excited level, high energy level of that particular atom, then in that case, whatever the collision that took place here, that will be inelastic collision, so the energy will not be conserved. So now the electron energy will be absorbed by the atom, and this atom will go, the electron in an atom will go to the excited state. So since the electron has lost its energy, it will not reach to the plate. So the number of electron will lose their energy because of this inelastic collision with the atom at certain specific potential, where they have achieved sufficient energy that will match with the difference between the two energy levels of that atom. So the current will suddenly drop here. Why? Current means what? The number of electron that will be reaching at the plate, that will constitute a current. Okay, that is a plate current. So that means less number of current are reaching here. Why less number of current are reaching here? Because their energy has been absorbed at a certain accelerating potential. The energy of these photons have been absorbed by the atom in order to excite them, and therefore that energy is sufficient to excite the atom. So these electrons will lose their energy. This is an inelastic collision, therefore they will not reach the plate. So less number of electron at that particular value of accelerating potential will reach the plate, so the current will fall here. And when Frank and Hertz measured this specific accelerating potential for the particular element, for example, they have studied for different vapors, but we shall consider here the example of mercury. So when they note the accelerating potential, the energy which they have provided to the electron, they have found that the first peak appears the fall of current appears at the energy that they have provided, that is equal to 4.9 electron volt. And when this energy 4.9 electron volt they have compared, so from this formula you can find out the wavelength associated with this energy. Okay, E is equal to h nu hc upon lambda. If you substitute the energy here, and energy if you convert into joule and substitute here in this particular equation, then they have found that it is related to the spectral line lambda is equal to 253.6 nanometer. So this was the wavelength of the spectral line in mercury. So this particular wavelength corresponds to a transition here. So this much energy is absorbed at a particular accelerating potential will result into a transition that will give out a photon of a wavelength lambda is equal to 253.6 nanometer. So that particular energy has been exactly found by this particular experiment. So that means here the energy level do exist. The energy level do exist here for the element. So when they further increase the accelerating potential, again now the energy has been increased, the kinetic energy of the electron has been increased, and therefore more and more number of electrons are reaching the plate. Again the plate current increases, but again at certain accelerating potential there is a sudden drop, because the energy matches with the next higher energy level, and the electron will collide with the atom inside the tube. That these collisions will be inelastic collision. That means energy of the electron will be absorbed in order to perform the second transition. Okay, so this number of such transitions and the corresponding energies they have estimated, and what they found that these corresponding energies which they have calculated from the accelerating potential, they exactly corresponds to the energy levels of that particular element. For example, here for mercury, so for a particular spectral line lambda is equal to 253.6, it results due to the excitation by an energy provided with this accelerating potential that is equal to 4.9 electron volt, and that will result for the first spectral line. So this is how the existence of the spectral line for the atomic excitation or any particular atom, the existence of energy level, that was exactly demonstrated or very correctly demonstrated by these two scientists, Frank and Hertz. So this experiment is very important experiment in this theory of the atom or the atomic spectra. So this was the importance. This is how the Frank and Hertz experiment is very important from that point of view.